My name's Calvin Waite, and I trade Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for a living.
Time to pull up a chair, guys, because today we need to talk about Bitcoin. Prices are down. Let's take a look.
So, if we talk about Bitcoin, what I'm doing here is I'm comparing some of the price action that we've seen this year. So this is 2019, our big run to 14,000, and then 2020, right up until the big coronavirus stock market, everything crashed, everything went down the rabbit hole. And I'm comparing this to a similar time back in 2014 to 15. This is before the big run up to 2017, and I just kind of wanted to point out a few similarities. There are a few differences, but on the whole, if we look at 2015, before all of this happened, we had a green zone. We were up here, we were all excited, we'd hit 1,000 for the first time, and we kind of had this kind of cooling off period where we went from intermittent green and yellow down into a solid yellow and then finally into a red zone. And what we had most recently is we had this green zone that ran us up into 14,000. It got back and forth, we hit a solid yellow patch, and then finally we hit our red. So these two scenarios line up pretty close. But if you look at this drop here is reminiscent of our most recent drop. So after we kind of came out, a lot of that hopium just dried up. We dropped below the 100-week moving average, and we just went straight down into this red zone down here. And this ended up being our bottom. So here we were on a momentum move, and we kind of ran out of steam, and then the coronavirus thing chopped us down. But we didn't hit a red zone because all of the trend lines were all kind of moving up. We just recently had a golden cross, but this move pulled us into a death cross really quick, and we started back into a little bit of a red zone. So most recently, so this is current again, somehow we've managed to climb quite a bit, and then we had that long stabilization period that everyone started getting bored, wondering what was going to happen. We finally hit a teeny bit of green, and that sort of set us off, and today we're up here, and we are essentially kind of, today's been a little bit of a down day, but for perspective, we dropped all the way down here. We've kind of done nothing but climb since then. So now let's look back and see what kind of behavior we saw in the 2015 period of time. So this was a much rougher patch because all of the trends were facing down. You can see the 50-week moving average was negative. It was moving down. Here we were kind of flat, kind of rising, a little down here, but we're starting to pick it up again. So the shape is slightly different, but there are some similarities. So here we had a long stabilization period. It was nearer the bottom, but this stabilization period gave us a little bit of strength, and we found our first green zone right here. So now what happened after this green zone? So that's kind of the goal of this video, is to kind of think about what we may be in for. So the first time we hit the green zone, we essentially had trouble right around this 50-week moving average, but we had our golden cross here. So where's our golden cross today? It's back here. So we had our golden cross before we entered this green zone. We hit this green zone, but then we kind of had a little bit of a cooling off period, and that was essentially to just gain another point of support. This was the first time that our 200-week moving average began to show up. And you can see now our 200-week moving average is way below where we are now. So we have, I mean, we've definitely stepped above all of this. Our 50-week, our 100-week, and our 200-week are in alignment, where that was not the case before. So as we kind of move forward into the future, this is again back in 2015, we had sort of this common high that we were having trouble overcoming. And when we finally broke through it, right in this area where we had a little trouble, we kind of went parabolic and got a little too excited. And then we came back, revisited this area, and essentially nailed it into the coffin as support. So what we had here is we essentially had three points. We had 1, 2, and then this whole consolidation. These 3 points have been our major resistance. And we, now that we've sort of broken out, it is not uncommon for us to retest that, but it's very healthy for the structure of the chart. If we can retouch 10,500 and essentially cement that as support, then the rest of this can happen. So we were back at around 300 in the past, and we kind of fought this until we broke through it, found it as support, got excited, and then essentially for an entire 3 weeks solidified it as support, and then we slowly climbed. And this brought us right into the 2016, 2017, all of these major moves. It wasn't just straight up. You know, these green zones, they don't last forever, especially if you have some ups and downs. So what does that kind of project for the future? So here's our first green zone in 2015. Here's our first green zone now. So if we look at this and think, you know, what could we be in for? It would definitely not be unhealthy for us to essentially touch our 10-5 situation. This 50-week moving average is a very powerful support. If we really start running and the market is convinced, we can use it for multiple support as we climb. You'll notice that the 50-week moving average, when we ramped up so high, it maintained support for a while, but we kind of fought it back and forth until, let's see, in 2017. Yeah, we even then, we still kind of fought it, and we dropped back and used the 100 week as support during that entire run. By the time we hit the end of it, though, we had a hard time even crossing it. And then when we finally did, that's when the bear market began for us. When we first had our first red zone, things were going to get cold for quite a while. But you can see what a long time frame this is. This is a huge period of time. So from our first green zone and from all of the support and the structure that we created here, it essentially set us on a path. And with the ups and downs, we just absolutely made history. So where we have just barely had our first green zone, there are many green zones to come, and so don't get upset that we are essentially creating stability around this resistance that we've done. This creates a beautiful bottom, and if we can create that and touch that and give it support, it'll be very powerful. So I'm gonna go show you kind of an example of why we need this support. Well, so let me put it this way. I know there's been a lot of hype about Link. So Link is a coin that has definitely been on a tear. But there are some problems with this coin structurally, and I'll just point it out. Obviously everyone, it kind of has, during the hype cycle of a new coin and a new exciting thing, there are kind of no rules. I mean, think about any coin that really just kind of took off. One of the coins that comes to mind is Raven coin. I'll show you that one first. But look what happened to Raven coin in the initial stages. There was no real rhyme or reason for Raven coin to just kind of, I mean, we had this excitement, we created a bottom, and then we essentially just went straight up. Like, there was no creating support, there was no establishing support and creating a level process. And when we finally hit the high, we had to bleed out all of that over exuberance. We finally found support right here, but it was essentially here, this resistance and this resistance. It had to kind of fight to create a new level here. And when we broke through and then we kind of popped through it, then that set us up again. But even here it was unstable. We never, like, this support kind of came from here, like this little bit of an area, but we missed a gap between here, and it created some instability. So as we launched up, there wasn't a great handoff between resistance here and support here. There was this gap, and that gap is unhealthy. It doesn't give your coin enough time to create that stability that you need, and so we struggled. And of course, these hype cycles, they are fairly natural for a new coin, and so it's something to watch out for. I'm actually starting to buy Raven coin because we're in this red zone and it's breaking up, and we've kind of chopped in and out of this red zone quite a few times. And with the kind of excitement and altcoins moving, I love coins that everyone's kind of walked away from. These are gold mines to me. But anyway, so now if you look at Link is kind of that same situation where we had a good top, a good bottom, a good top. We retested the top, but then we had a problem because when we just kind of launch off, and then we don't have the support that we need. This gap right here between 52,000 and like 60, well, we'll even go to the bottom, 60,000. This is an 8,000 Satoshi gap that has not been filled, and this support has not, there has never been a handoff. For how strong the resistance was at this level, we needed more support on the other side. So this is going to be an exciting run. Everyone's going to have a great time, but even this top, it hasn't had a handoff. This is an unhealthy run. If these numbers had gone up a little bit and retouched it, it would have set us up for a much more stable price rise. But for now, it's going to be pretty wild. I have no doubts that we'll probably get vertical up in here, and I'm kind of banking on it because I do own some Link. But when we're in the green zone, we're looking for exits. We're not looking for entrances. So now if you kind of take that philosophy and we return back to Bitcoin, this, where we've fought so hard against this 10.5, the most healthy thing that we could possibly do to start off our giant bull run that I'm totally expecting is to retouch this 10.5 or this declining support, because the declining support lasted much longer than this 10.5 period that we've dealt with. Either of those would be so healthy and really launch us. So if you're investing in Bitcoin and you're getting worried that, oh my goodness, everything's stalled out, we haven't done anything for a month, and now we're dropping, what are we doing? This is good. This is a very positive thing in my mind. So we just be patient, we wait, we hang on, and I hope that helps you. Trading can get very emotional, and the last thing we want to do is get too emotional and make dumb decisions. We got to take a step back and really think about where we're headed and have a level head. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hey, look at that. You made it through another video. If you appreciated anything I said, I would really like it if you could give me a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. If I can grow the channel a little bit more, I'd love to start doing giveaways and make things a little bit more fun around here.